Welcome along to the form as we heat up for a really big weekend racing. Friday racing is the focus today, and especially on what looks a really good harness meeting out of Addington. Let's see who's coming up on today's show. We'll talk harness racing around Addington with Matthew Cross and Craig the Whale Thompson. Link up with Kieran McEvoy as he shoots for his fourth win in the Everest at Randwick on Saturday, and talk Hastings with Chief Executive Darren Balcom. Chance for us to talk harness racing now on the form, and it's a big meeting at Addington as well with a couple of really good features. Group 3 trot and a terrific pace as well. But before we get into that, Craig Thompson and Matthew Cross will be joining us. First of all, Craig, I want to go back into the Methven Cup and the Spring Cup. What did we learn out of those two races last week?
I don't know if we learned a lot out of the Spring Cup. Firstly, Aidan, very good morning to you and to Matt. It was a sedately run race. I thought copy that, ticked a lot of boxes, because the most pleasurable part of what he did was he stepped away cleanly. His gait was good. They didn't go quick. He sat in the 1-1. He only went round one horse at the top of the lane. So I don't read a lot into that race. I think it was a perfect guide or a perfect fresh up run. He'll have to improve a lot off that, though, because, as I said on the night, if you put any one of the other three superstars that are in the Cup in the same spot that he was, they would have won that race as well. So I think he'll head to the Homes DG in a fortnight's time. And I think it was a real good pipe opener. I think of the Beaten Brigade, Bad to the Bone was very good. He ran second. He had the toughest trip out of him. He's probably the young kid on the block, Aidan, a horse that maybe not this year's New Zealand Cup, but in a future New Zealand Cup, I think he'll be a real contender, because he's such a good stayer and he sat parked the whole way in the Spring Cup. So look for him going forward. His price will shorten up going forward into the Cup. As for the Methven Cup, Matt was calling the race. I thought it was an intriguing race. Multiple race moves early on. Few tactics played out. But the best horse won at Cranbourne. He's a favourite of mine. Great to see Brett White. I mean, we heard of the All-Stars, the Hayden Cullens, the likes of that, Brett Mangos, Ray Green. Here's a guy, Brett White, that doesn't have a big team, but he's got a very good horse at the moment going forward into the Cup. Great win in the Methven Cup. Big runs out of it. I thought Kango lost 60 at the start, ended up beaten 3 lengths. So it was really good. And Steelers Show wasn't a bad run either, Matt. I thought a nice drive by John Dunn, put it in the race, was there to win it, beaten by a couple of other nice horses.
Yeah, it was an inch-perfect drive from Cranbourne, I thought, Craig. You mentioned Bad to the Bone in the north, maybe being a year away from those top liners, but I think that between Cranbourne and Bad to the Bone, they're very similar horses. If they can track the speed without doing too much work, they certainly won't disgrace themselves in the Cup. Cranbourne is a real genuine stayer, and he's got a turn of foot as well. And I'm interested to see sort of how much improvement he takes out of that Methven Cup. He will gain a fair bit of respect out of it as well. Runs in behind, I thought Vintage Cheddar was excellent, starting off the 10 metres. Had he been off the front, he probably would have finished a little bit closer, and still the show was very good as well. Wasn't the deepest Methven Cup, Aidan, that we've ever seen, but I think Cranbourne puts his hand up, and he's saying now, with especially horses like DiCaprio coming out now, that he is worthy of taking his spot in this year's 2 mile feature.
Okay, really good insight into those key races. And of course, we get another one with this IRT Handicap pace. Matt, let's start with you. You've got South Coast Start, and it was terrific first up. It beat home what Pembroke Playboy and Self Assured in this market, really saying it's a 2-horse race. Is it as easy as that for you?
I think it's South Coast Arden's race to lose, particularly with the handicaps and the way that the race will unfold. If South Coast Arden settles in front of Self Assured, then I think he'll beat him, purely based on the fact that if South Coast Arden is in front, Self Assured's going to have to go around and sit outside of him. Self Assured excellent last time, but South Coast Arden looked to have a bit of improvement in him. Stepped away nicely, and he's got enough room off the unruly from the 10 metres to be able to pace his way forward. There's going to be barely no horses around him. There's one off the unruly off the front, and there's only one horse in the draw. Both of the 10 metre horses off the unruly, and Self Assured Classy Brigade starting off 20 metres. So with the handicap advantage, the way that the race should unfold, South Coast Arden to settle in front of Self Assured. I'm not saying that South Coast Arden is a better horse than Self Assured, but under these circumstances, I think he can win again. Self Assured's clearly the logical second pick in the race, and I'd love to see Henry Hubert pace and put himself somewhere near the speed. If he can lob a handy spot. His run in the Canterbury Classic last time, Craig, his closing sectionals were still very good. Do you see it somewhere around that?
Oh, absolutely, Matt. I think you've hit it pretty much hit the nail on the head. I think with the scratching of Matt Damon coming out this morning, Aiden, we've got 5 runners now. It's an unusual configuration. When you've got 5 runners and 3 of them are off the unruly, and the 2 back markers, the only 2 that are actually in a straight line. So we're going to see an unusual configuration at the start at the 2600. 3 horses out wide, 2 on the inside. They're off the 20-metre handicap. You can't go past this Canterbury Classic win, South Coast Arden, because he settled last in the race. Self-Assured settled in front of him. He made a mid-race move to sit parked out, and he was clearly the best horse in the race. This week, he's got a 10-metre advantage over the IRT Cup winner from last year, and the bookmakers are giving you $1.80 in a 5-horse field. Now, $1.80 doesn't sound like much, but realistically, it's a 2-horse race. Unless Henry Hubert gets his manners right on the night, these are the 2 that'll fight out the finish. I think he's the best of the night. I really do. I think going forward into the Cup, he's catching the stand right. My only little bit of a concern is if they muck around at the start, sometimes he can rear, he can bound, he can do a few silly things. But with a small field and being off the unruly, plenty of manoeuvrability at the start, not claustrophobic. You haven't got 7 other horses beside you. He gets his chance to step away. On his Canterbury Classic run, I think he's the winner. I think Self-Assured's the big improver out of the race, but still needs to improve probably half a length to get past him. I like Henry Hubert as the best roughie in the race. His 3 runs have been great. He's galloped in all 3 of them. So he's got to have to get it right shortly. Maybe tomorrow night, maybe the night for Henry Hubert, and you're getting 18-1 to find out. So they're clear top 3 for me, but South Coast Arden, I'll be running my multis at $1.80. I don't believe he'll start at that price.
Okay, the highest assessed race of the night is for the trotters. That's the Canterbury Park trot. We see Sunday Sun, Majestic Man, Oscar Bonavina, and a really good race this. Craig, we'll start with you. How did you assess it?
Well, it's a mini Group 1. That's as simple as that. It is a mini Group 1. And the reason I say that is because the 8 horses in the market for the Dominion, the 8 top runners for the market of the Dominion are in this race. So it's a super field. In fact, when you look through it, horses that normally would go around $3, $4, $5 in normal intermediate trot races, they're $15 to $20. Oscar Bonavina, Midnight Dash, Metaderos won by 12 lengths at its last start. You're getting 15-1. The reason why is because Sunday Sun dominates markets. He's the best horse not only in New Zealand, but in my personal opinion, the best horse in Australasia. Now, he has to give him a decent head start. I thought his run the other day was unbelievable. I thought he couldn't win at the top of the lane. They trotted a freakish time. Now, he holds a New Zealand record for 2 miles. He holds a record for 2,700. And he was only half a second away from holding another New Zealand record last week after starting off a massive handicap. So, for me, I think he was underdone. I think he'll be a big improver out of that race. He's not just going to step up and win because the new kids on the block are here, Aiden. And when I say the new kids on the block, I'm talking Bolt for Brilliance and Muscle Mountain. Now, Muscle Mountain's probably not a new kid on the block because he's beaten Sunday Sun. He's beaten him in a Group 1 before. And that was at 2,600 metres and came from behind him to win. So he's now a teenager into a man's body. And I think on his trial last week, this is a hell of a race. I'll go Sunday Sun, but I think Muscle Mountain, Matt, he was fantastic at the trials. He's beaten Sunday Sun before. And then you chuck in Bolt for Brilliance, the Northerner. What I would say about in his trial at Franklin the other day, it was a very soft trial. There was only 3 in it. I think he's the big improver out of this race, but I think there's a lot of improvement in him, and he's going to head to Ashburton. I'd probably wait and see for him in 7 days' time.
I genuinely think this is one of the best trotting races in Australasia in the last 12 months. With the depth of this field, it's going to be a brilliant go. And look, it'd be even more exciting had horses like Bolt for Brilliance, Oscar Bonavina and Muscle Mountain had a fitness run under their belt. One thing about Muscle Mountain is he'd often run his best races in a fresh state. The Hope team generally kept him just on the fresh side. Even when he won the Group 1 last year, he had a little bit of a freshen up before that. First up in this sort of race, he does have a 10-metre advantage over Sunday Sun. Will that be enough? I don't think so off Sunday Sun's run last time out. I don't know what the people at home were thinking watching the race, but in my mind, I was thinking at the mile, this horse is going to have to be one of the best we've seen to be able to pick the leaders up. I know it wasn't as deep of a field as what he meets on Friday night, but his sectionals, his last mile was just brilliant. And from all reports, they did give him a freshen up post his win prior, so he might have only been at 80-90%. If Sunday's Sun improves 5 lengths, that's probably a 3:12, 3:13 off the tapes. If he runs that sort of time off the 30 metres, he'll be winning. He's a class act. He's a Group 1 performer. He rises to the top at this time of year, and I think he'll win again and make it win 24 Sunday Sun. Horses just don't do what he did last time out. Muscle Mountain's the logical danger. His trial was good. He's a real athlete. I don't think he'll take too long to come to hand. And of the others, Bolt for Brilliance is the obvious horse, placed in a couple of Group 1s in behind Sunday's Sun last campaign. And I think it's his year to really put his hand up as one of the best trotters, Bolt for Brilliance. And I give Midnight Dash off the front a place hope. Ricky May does the driving for the Hope team. They're just blessed with the stock they've got with these two horses in their barn at the moment. If Midnight Dash can lob himself into a spot, then he's a nice place play. But I agree with Craig's thoughts around the likes of Mataderos, Chief of Staff. They've been going well. And we haven't mentioned Majestic Man, who was a Group 1 performer over in Australia through his last campaign. Look, certainly in need of his first up run. Sitting parked in those sort of times is a good effort, but being back off the 20 metres and the fact that Sunday's Sun was so much better than him last time out, it's hard to go past him. So the 12 on top to beat the 9, Aidan, but boy, I'm looking forward to this and looking forward to seeing how the field for the Dominion develops at this point. I think if I was looking forward to a race over Cup Week for the harness racing side of things, the Dominion would be it.
Wow, well, you got us really excited for a couple of big races. Matt, let's put it on you for the meeting, though. What's your best, and maybe if you got something for us at a bit better odds?
Well, there's a couple of horses, Aidan. I'm not too sure about what their prices are going to be. Race number 5 is a 2,600 metre mobile, and a horse that raced at Timaru last start by the name of Angel of Montana. Her first up run was good. They closed the race off in some fast splits. She raced around in the New Zealand Oaks, this horse, over 2,600. Doesn't meet a brilliant field. With the run under her belt and the natural improvement through the back end of her 3-year-old campaign, I think she can win. And bookies could give you a nice price around it. Race 5, number 8, Angel of Montana. Boy, some of these races are real head scratches. There's some handicap races that just make no sense whatsoever in trying to find you a winner. I like race number 7. It's the free-for-all mobile. It's a condition free-for-all. And I thought a nice each-way play would be number 2, Terry. He was off 15 metres last time and behind Cranbourne, ran his last half in 54.6, last quarter 26.3. Loves the 1980 at Addington. He's won a similar race prior. Should get a similar to run as to what he did on that occasion. And I think that bookies might give you a decent price. Takes on a 3-time Group 1 winning mare, first up in New Zealand from Australia, called Pelosi. Cran and Chrissy Delgetti now train her. She won the Breeders' Challenge at 2 and 3 and the Australian Pacing Gold as a 2-year-old. First run for her outside of the gate, could be a bit vulnerable. And then you've got the Anna Donnelly pair, who could be hard to beat. But Terry, willing to say he can win race number 7, and that'll be going at 11 minutes after 7.
Okay, Craig, I think we've got your best from the IRT pace. We spoke earlier on about that race, but can you maybe find us some value around that as well?
Yeah, not a lot of meat on the bone there at $1.80, is there, Aidan? But I know you'll find a galloping winner over the weekend, and Matt will find one as well. So multi it up. That's the way to play. I mean, we're recording a couple of days out, so you've got plenty of things to invest onto getting onto South Coast Done. Really like thoughts about Matt with Terry. I think it's a really good bet in race number 7. Loved its run. If you watch the video, HRNZ, go back to the 1st of October. Have a look at race number 5. It was dead last turning for home. Robbie Close looked to go in, and there wasn't a gap. He ended up coming to the very outside, lost all momentum, and those sectionals Matt mentioned. Nothing finished off better in the race than it. Takes on a handy type. Typo's a really nice horse from the North Island. You've got Pelosi in there, obviously the Australian. That Alexander guy, and some kind of wonderful with gate speed. Lot of intriguing aspects about the race, but I thought in one, Terry was a really good bet in race number 7. And going back to Matt's race number 5, I found a bit of value in that race as well. I reckon it's close to 10-1. Well, hopefully, bookmakers aren't out there yet, listening anyway. Race 5, horse 1, Asian Elvis. Really like it. Drawn the inside, a bit of gate speed there. It's coming out of a couple of hot races, and it's the highest rated horse in this race by a long way, Aidan. When we talk ratings in harness racing, it's very similar with galloping. The higher rated, the better assessed it is. This one horse is a rating 53. It's in a 40 to 53. It's the only 53 in the race. It's been racing well from bad draws. It gets the ace alley. Jared O'Reilly jumps on. Not saying it's a winner, but I think trailing or 3 the fence can run top 3 with a right run. It can win. So let's hope the bookmakers aren't listening by the time this is recording and we're getting double figures.
Brilliant. Really appreciate you going through the meeting, both Craig Thompson and Matthew Cross, and we'll look forward to the coverage on trackside of Addington.
Thanks, Aidan.
A chance to talk the Everest now. We've grabbed Kieran McEvoy, who's won 3 out of the 4 editions so far. It's some sort of record, isn't it, Kieran? I guess it's one you're really proud of.
Yeah, morning, Aidan. It is a good record to be proud of. It's quite an amazing run I've had in this big race, and it's been a stellar run, and hoping to continue it this weekend with the Grey Boy. He's back in fine form, and looking forward to see if we can topple them all again.
Absolutely. You talk about classic legends who you rode to win last year. And of course, you rode Red Zell to win the first 2 races. Can you tell me, are there similarities between these 2 horses?
Yeah, both great sprinters, that's for sure. And Red Zell was a little bit different. He was up on the front end and controlling things up the front and kicking off a hot speed. And Classic Legend gets back in the field a bit and he comes with a powerful barnstorming finish. So a little bit different in their racing pattern, but great sprinters all the same. And just been lucky enough to throw my leg over those 2 champs. So it's a great lineup again this year, stock full of really good horses.
Just tell us a little bit about him, because one thing we know about him, because of that racing style that you've mentioned, there's a horse who has captured public imagination over there, isn't he? He's a really popular horse just because of the way he finishes off his races.
Yeah, exactly right. He's we haven't seen him on our shores for a little while at the racetrack, but with social media these days, there's always pictures and videos getting out of all our top horses, and it's great for the sport. So he has got a good following. He's a bit of a dude at track work. Everyone likes giving him a pat when he's out having a pick, and he's got a nice calm nature as well. So he's an easy horse to like, and he's pretty fast to boot. So that makes it even better.
Just tell us, how do you expect the race to pan out for him?
Yeah, interesting question, because obviously there's a lot of speed in the race, and you've got Nature Strip and Eduardo drawn out wide, and I doubt they'll go as quick as what they did last year. I think it might be a little bit more steadily run through the first furlong anyway, and then it will be interesting to see where they all line up. And I've got to be just Johnny on the spot, so to speak, and just try and lob into a position where my horse is comfortable. But I've been pleased with the way he's popped out of the barriers at the trials. He's been able to get out and take a position, and that's a good string to have in your bow, so to speak. So he doesn't have to sit 8 lengths off them like he was last year. It's just a case of having him comfortable, in relation to the speed in the race. So I'll be just mindful of how easy Eduardo and Nature Strip are getting it. These good horses, they only need an easy section down the side, and then they're off and running and very hard to catch. So there's a bit of rain hanging around today, so it will be interesting to see how the track races on Saturday. I'm hoping that it can dry up a little bit, and my horses adapt on soft ground, but I'd prefer it not to be heavy. So it's going to sort of add all these different elements into the race just to make it that bit more interesting for everyone.
Absolutely. Taking everything into account, Kieran, what are you expecting of him this weekend?
I think he's going really well. It's it's been a different preparation. This preparation, when he came back from overseas, he was a bit light over the top and a bit light in condition, and Les just had to get him back looking well and feeling well and nice and round, and he done that, and then he had to work on his fitness, and it was a case of just being behind the 8 ball a little bit in terms of having him ready for a first up race. So Les had to change tack and just master up a new plan, and that meant we had to go to the race first up. But at the same time, he's been able to get a bit more miles into his legs, so to speak, and he's had 3 trials. He's given me a better feeling each time he's gone to the trials, and I think he can do it. I really do. I think he's a great fresh horse. I just wouldn't want the track to be heavy. We predicted a bit more rain today. I'd love the rain to miss Randwick because he's gone on soft before, but just the task gets a bit harder, I think, if the track's heavy and you're first up against these horses that have had runs under their belts. So, yeah, I'm going to be trying to shoo away the clouds today, that's for sure.
One thing you mentioned there, Kieran, is obviously the factor of Les Bridge, who's just an icon in training. I remember sort of growing up and watching Kenside win Melbourne Cups and things, and obviously he's had great success from really only small numbers. Just tell us about his influence over this Everest.
Yeah, it's been great to work with Les. Since Classic Legend come on the scene, I was lucky enough to team up with this horse and Les more frequently, and he's he's an icon of the sport, and trudges around with his little dog by his side, and he loves getting up early in the mornings, and he loves horses and loves training, and he's, as you said, he's won numerous big races, Golden Slippers, Melbourne Cups back in the day, and obviously Hot Danish was his most recent star before Classic Legend, and now this fella's came along, and yeah, it's been unreal to work with Les. He's really fun, and I enjoy working with him. He's a man of few words, but I think he's enjoyed having this horse in his stable, and he's enjoyed working alongside me, and so it's pleasing going forward. And he's a real gent, and hopefully I can do it for Les and the team. He's got a great team behind him, so it'd be great to pull it off again for them.
Absolutely. Well, just if we can, since we've got access to you, Kieran, just rip through a few of your rides earlier on. You've got more Sundays in the highway. I think one of your early rides. What are your chances fresh?
Yeah, I think this horse can run well. He doesn't mind a bit of juice in the ground, and I rode him a few times in his career. I think it was last prep I rode him fresh, and he was running on around 4th at Randwick. So he looks to have trialled nicely coming into this. Obviously, it's a great lineup of horses in this race, with many with chances, but I think he can run a nice race and be good each way value there early in the day.
Okay, move you on to the Reg Allen, and you've got Mystic Mermaid, who ran a really good race for second on debut. This is a bit of a step up, though, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit of a step up, but you wouldn't be surprised if she just improves a ton out of that first run. Just got back a little bit after stepping a bit slowly, and was running on out wide there at Wyong. So you'd have to think that a bigger track at Randwick and longer straight is going to assist if we do have to give them a little bit of a start. But keep an eye on this one at odds as well. Okay,
moving on to the Sydney Stakes, and you've got Standout here, who was just run down by obviously a pretty smart one in the Premier last time out in Masked Crusader. What are you rating your chances like here?
Yeah, this horse has been going well without winning. He put up a great performance there last time, as you said, behind Masked Crusader. So you've got to think that's pretty strong form line coming into this, and he gets a nose roll on for the first time. Gerald Ryan's just tinkered around with his gear, and he said he's done really well since. So he's another good ride for me on the day.
Okay, exactly. In the Craven Plate, Hungry Heart. Your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I'd like the rain to stay away for her as well. She was a good run in the Epsom the other day. I think she might be just looking for 2,000 metres now. So if she takes her place there on Saturday, she can run well out to that 2,000 metres. Okay,
St. Ledger, you've got Cariff.
Yep, Cariff. He got back in a steadily run race there last time over 2,000 metres. He goes out to 2,600, which aids his chances. He's another horse that he's adapted on all sort of surfaces. So look for him to bounce back in a truly run race, hopefully for him on the weekend.
Okay, and you round out your day with the Tracy Bartley trained Barossa Rosa. Your thoughts on this runner in the last?
Yeah, she was a good winner there last time at Rose Hill. I'm not sure about her chances on a rain-affected track, but she's in good form. I know that Tracy's been happy with her since that win, and another one, she's good each way value. So she felt in great form there that day. I've ridden her twice this preparation, and she's improved each time. So if she stays on an upward curve, then another one that can run well for me on Saturday.
Okay, Kieran, what are your chances of getting down to Melbourne off the back of this weekend?
We're waiting to hear from the government. They haven't ticked it off yet. We've put in all the relevant forms and stuff. So I'm waiting patiently for the email to lob back in the inbox. But yeah, a few guys are trying to get down for Cox Plate. I'm hopefully going to get down for Derby Day and Cup Day. So waiting patiently to hear from the government.
Have you got a cup runner lined up?
If it all goes ahead, yeah, I'll be on a horse called Grand Promenade. Kieran and Dave Eustace trained. He's got a great record at Flemington, and he's about fourth in line in the market. So, I'm fingers crossed I can get down there for it. It's obviously always great to get a Melbourne Cup ride.
Okay, we really appreciate you giving up your time this morning for us, Kieran, and best of luck. Let's hope you can make it 4 in the Everest on Saturday.
Thanks, Aidan. Have a good day. Many winners.
We've got Hawke's Bay Racing Incorporated Chief Executive Darren Balcombe joining us. Darren, first of all, obviously, terrific first 2 days of the carnival, the culmination of the spring day carnival here on Saturday. How's it all shaping up?
Yeah, it's been a different carnival, that's for sure, being at Group 2 for the first, or sort of Level 2 for the first 2 days, and a changed Level 2 for this day, and then throw in the fact that Waikato's sort of in a Level 3. It's just made planning very, very difficult. But no, it's been good that the regulations have been released slightly, I guess you could call it, for this day. So we're looking forward to having a few more people on course and hopefully a little bit of atmosphere.
Yeah, absolutely. You talk about those logistical sort of nightmares it must be, because there's a lot of those Cambridge trainers who just won't be able to get there, along with the Auckland trainers as well. What's been put in place for them to have some help with getting their horses off and saddled and ready for the races?
Yeah, so a number of the local trainers have pulled together and have put some staff up to be able to work these horses and help them and get them saddled for the races, which is absolutely great. And a couple of other CD trainers have also chipped in, which is a real testament to, I guess, racing, really, that you can help your competitor out to get to the races is absolutely brilliant. And I think those people need to be commended for the effort they're putting in to make sure those other, the trainers that are in lockdown and not as fortunate are able to race, which is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, we've got Group 1 racing, also Group 3 racing with the running of the Red Badge Spring Sprint. How are conditions there in the Bay ahead of the weekend?
Yeah, well, it's going to be a beautiful day on Saturday. Forecast for around 20 degrees and fine. It's absolutely freezing here today, sort of around the 12, but feels like about 8. But it's going to be absolutely perfect. We had 1.5 mil of rain on Tuesday night, put on about 5 mil of irrigation. So the tracks are dead 5 currently, and I'd be predicting it should be back into the dead 4 range by race morning. So it should be bang on. I think everyone will get the chance. The rail's back into true. It was at 4 metres for Windsor Park Plate Day. So no, it should be spot on. I think everyone will get their chance on Saturday.
Okay, are you happy the way the fields are stacked up?
Yeah, the fields are very even. Big fields all day. I think the only one that's not going to be a maximum field is probably the 3-year-old. So, no, couldn't be happier. The Livermore's an even field. There's probably not the depth of some years, but, I think that all the horses that could be there are there. The other ones are sort of in Australia at the moment. So, I think we've got the best of the Kiwi horses, that's for sure.
Any local bully for us, Darren?
I'm thinking She's a Catch, and race 9 was very, very unlucky on the middle day, and I think with an ounce of luck, she'll be very hard to beat in race 9.
Okay, I really appreciate giving you a short time, and best of luck for the weekend's big day, the spring culmination Livermore Classic.
Appreciate that, Aidan.
Okay, chance now for us to have a look at the best bets for Friday races. Good luck if you're following our tips is in for Friday racing. And don't forget about joining us tomorrow as well as we look through what is a massive day. The Everest out of Randwick, Caulfield Cup Day. And of course, we've got Livermore Classic Day at Hastings and Barneswood Farm 3-year-old stakes at Ashburton as well. Join us.